It is 7 a.m. A husband walks into the kitchen, starts the coffee maker, and pours a single mug for himself. He takes a sip and immediately starts scrolling his phone. He isn't trying to be cruel, but upstairs, his wife is already keeping a mental ledger. To her nervous system, this missing cup is another data point in a growing record of invisibility, a small, quiet signal that she isn't being held in his mind. Relationships rarely end because of a massive, explosive betrayal. They erode through thousands of these daily moments, where one person scans the room for a sign they matter and finds silence. This is the entry point into the roommate phase. Clinicians call it parallel living. You occupy the same physical house, but you have stopped occupying the same emotional world. It looks like finishing dinner, migrating to the same couch, and spending the next 2 hours scrolling through separate algorithms. It is preparing lunches while keeping conversation limited to the electric bill and kids' soccer schedules, and climbing into bed, turning on a screen, and physically rolling away. This retreat is a survival strategy. Human beings are mammals wired to connect, but when we anticipate that reaching out will be met with a sigh or a cold shoulder, we suppress the urge to try. Choosing the safety of silence over the vulnerability of asking for attention creates a leak. It slowly drains the intimacy out of the relationship until the foundation cracks. To understand how this decay works, we look to the University of Washington. Here, clinical researchers spent decades tracking the daily behaviors of married couples to see which stayed together and which fell apart. Lead researcher Dr. John Gottman observed thousands of interactions and identified a hidden mathematical pattern behind divorce. The pattern revolves around a concept called a bid for connection. A bid is any attempt your partner makes to get your attention, affirmation, or affection. It's an exhausted sigh after a long day. It's showing you a meme they found funny, or it's a random observation about the weather outside. Thriving couples, the masters of relationships, turn toward daily bids 86% of the time. By contrast, couples who eventually divorced turn toward bids only 33% of the time. This gap represents the difference between a marriage that works and one that ends. Relationship survival is dictated by the ratio of micro-moments where you choose to acknowledge your partner. Every time the bid is made, you can turn toward it, turn against it with hostility, or turn away by ignoring it. When you repeatedly turn away, your partner's nervous system files that lack of response as a biological threat. This triggers the waltz of pain. One partner often becomes the protester. Driven by a fear of abandonment, they escalate conflicts, trying to force a reaction to prove you still care. The other partner becomes the withdrawer. Overwhelmed by a fear of inadequacy, they retreat into silence or digital distraction, trying to avoid making things worse. The protester attacks to get closer. The withdrawer retreats to stay safe. Both want connection, but their competing survival strategies lock them into a loop of isolation. You cannot fix this loop simply by saying, "I love you." A damaged nervous system requires consistent behavioral proof of work to trust that a partner is truly there. That proof starts with microhabits. It means putting your phone face down during transition windows, like the first 15 minutes after you walk through the door, so you have the bandwidth to catch a bid. You will miss bids because you are human. The fix is the repair, circling back hours later to say, "I'm sorry I was distracted earlier. What were you telling me about your day?" These habits target the nervous system directly. They shift a partner's internal state from hypervigilance back to felt security. To prevent regression, researchers recommend a weekly structural framework called the State of the Union meeting. You start by sharing 5 specific things you appreciated about your partner that week. This builds a foundation of goodwill. Next, you explicitly discuss what went right in the relationship over the past 7 days, proving that you are paying attention to the successes. This is the formula for Phase 3, processing a point of friction using a softened startup. I feel an emotion about a specific situation, and I need a positive action. You end with one question. What specific action can I take to make you feel more loved next week? Love is not a passive state you fall into. It is a deliberate daily practice of putting down your phone,
paying attention, and choosing to reach back.